If you can understand English but cannot speak it, then you are not alone. This is one of the most common problems faced by English learners around the world. Many people think that they are weak in English, but the truth is very different. The real issue is not understanding, it is speaking practice. When you read or listen to English, your brain has time to process the meaning. But when you speak, your brain must think and respond instantly. This creates pressure and hesitation. That is why words do not come easily. The good news is that this problem can be solved with daily practice. If you start speaking small sentences every day, your confidence will slowly grow. Mistakes are not failure. They are part of learning. With time, patience, and consistency, you can become a confident English speaker. Chapter 1. I want you to imagine something very simple. You are watching an English movie or listening to an English conversation. You understand almost everything. You smile at the jokes. You follow the story. You even know what the speaker is going to say next. But then suddenly, someone comes in front of you and asks a simple question like, "How was your day?" And your mind goes completely blank. You know the answer in your language. You even know the English words. But when it is time to speak, nothing comes out clearly. You feel stuck. You feel nervous. You start thinking too much. This is the moment where most English learners feel confused about themselves. This problem is very common, and I want you to understand something very important. You are not alone, and you are not weak. In fact, your brain is already doing half of the work perfectly. Understanding English is a big skill. If you can understand movies, conversations, and lessons, it means your listening ability is already strong. But speaking is a different skill. Speaking is not just about knowledge. It is about speed, confidence, and practice. And this is where most learners struggle. Let me explain this in a very simple way. When you understand English, your brain has time. You can pause, think, and connect meaning. But when you speak, there is no pause button in real life. You have to respond instantly. Your brain must find words, arrange sentences, and send them to your mouth in seconds. This pressure creates fear, and this fear stops you from speaking. That is why many learners say, "I know English, but I cannot speak it." Now think about a small child learning their first language. They also make mistakes. They also speak broken sentences, but they do not care. They just try again and again. Slowly, they become fluent. You were the same when you learned your native language. You did not learn it in one day. You learned by speaking, repeating, and making mistakes. English is no different. The only difference is that now you are more conscious, more scared, and more afraid of judgment. One of the biggest problems behind this issue is overthinking. When you want to speak English, your brain starts doing too many things at once. You think about grammar. You think about vocabulary. You think about pronunciation. And while doing all this, your natural flow stops. You forget that communication is more important than perfection. English speaking is not a test. It is a skill, and skills improve with practice, not pressure. Another important reason is lack of speaking practice. Most learners only read English or listen to English. They think that understanding is enough, but understanding alone will never make you fluent. Imagine you learn swimming by reading books and watching videos, but you never enter the water. Will you ever learn swimming? No. The same rule applies to English speaking. You must enter the water of speaking to learn it properly. Now I want to share a simple truth with you. Your brain is already trained to think in your native language. So when you try to speak English, your brain first translates everything. This translation creates delay. That delay makes you lose confidence. And when confidence goes down, your speaking stops. This cycle repeats again and again. But the good news is that this cycle can be broken. The first step is to accept that it is okay to be slow. It is okay to make mistakes. It is okay to speak broken English. Because fluency does not come from perfection. It comes from action. Every time you try to speak, even if it is not perfect, your brain learns something new. It becomes faster. It becomes stronger. Let me give you a real example. Imagine a person who knows many English words but never speaks, and another person who knows fewer words but speaks every day. After some time, the second person will always become more fluent. Why? Because fluency is not about knowledge. It is about use. The more you use English, the more natural it becomes. Many learners also feel fear of making mistakes in front of others. They think people will laugh at them. But in reality, most people are too focused on themselves to judge you. And even if someone notices your mistake, it is not the end of the world. Every fluent speaker was once a beginner. Every expert was once a learner. Mistakes are not shameful. Mistakes are proof that you are trying. Another hidden reason for this problem is lack of confidence. Confidence does not come before speaking. It comes after speaking. You cannot wait to feel confident and then start speaking. You must start speaking first, and confidence will slowly grow. So what is the main lesson of this chapter? The main lesson is simple. You already have English inside your mind. You are not starting from zero. Your problem is not understanding. Your problem is not speaking enough. And your solution is not learning more theory. Your solution is practice, repetition, and courage. From today, stop thinking that you need perfect English to speak. Start thinking that speaking English is the way to get perfect English. The moment you accept this, your journey will begin to change. Chapter 2. In the previous chapter, we understood that the real problem is not English knowledge, but speaking fear and lack of practice. Now in this chapter, we will go deeper into the biggest barrier that stops almost every English learner from speaking confidently. That barrier is fear. Fear of making mistakes. Fear of being judged. Fear of forgetting words. Fear of sounding silly. This fear is so powerful that even when a person knows English very well, it blocks their voice completely. Let me ask you something very honestly. When you are alone, can you speak simple English sentences in your mind? Most of you will say yes. You can think in English. You can understand English. You can even imagine full conversations. But the moment you stand in front of another person, everything disappears. Your mind becomes empty. This is not a language problem. This is a fear problem. Your brain is not allowing you to speak freely because it is worried about what will happen next. This fear usually starts from childhood or early learning experiences. Maybe in school you made a mistake while speaking English and someone laughed. Maybe a teacher corrected you in a strict way. Maybe your friends made fun of your pronunciation. These small moments stay in your memory. And slowly, your brain starts believing that speaking English is dangerous or embarrassing. Without you realizing it, your mind starts avoiding speaking situations. This is why even simple conversations feel stressful. Now I want you to understand something very important. Fear in speaking English is not real danger. It is just a feeling created in your mind. Nobody gets hurt if you make a mistake in English. Nobody loses respect if your sentence is not perfect. In fact, in real life, people respect effort more than perfection. But your mind does not understand this at first. It thinks that mistakes are failure. That is why it stops you from speaking. Let's break this fear step by step. Imagine you are in a situation where you want to say something simple like, I am fine, or I am going home. You know these sentences, but still, you hesitate. Why? Because your brain starts overthinking. It asks questions like, is this correct? Am I saying it properly? What if I make a mistake? In this moment, your focus shifts from communication to perfection. And the moment you focus on perfection, your speaking becomes slow or completely stops. Now here is the truth that every English learner must accept. Perfect English does not exist in the beginning. Even native speakers make mistakes when they talk casually. So expecting yourself to be perfect from day one is unrealistic. Speaking English is not about avoiding mistakes. It is about continuing even after mistakes. Let me give you a powerful idea. Think of speaking English like learning to ride a bicycle. When you first try, you fall. You lose balance. You feel unsure. But do you stop forever because of that? No. You try again. Slowly your balance improves. After some time, you ride smoothly without thinking. Speaking English works exactly the same way. At first, your sentences will be slow and broken, but with practice, they become smooth and natural. Another important reason behind fear is the pressure of thinking too much grammar. Many learners believe that before speaking, they must form a grammatically perfect sentence in their mind. This creates delay, and this delay creates fear. In real conversation, you do not have time to think like a grammar book. You need simple and direct communication. Even basic sentences are enough to start speaking. For example, instead of thinking a long and complex sentence, you can simply say, I go market, instead of waiting to form, I am going to the market. The meaning is already clear. Communication happens. This is the first step of fluency. Accuracy comes later, but communication must come first. Now let's talk about another hidden fear. Many learners are afraid of silence. When they cannot find words, they panic. They think silence is embarrassing. But silence is normal in learning. Even fluent speakers sometimes pause to think. The difference is that they do not stop speaking because of it. They continue after the pause. You should also learn to be comfortable with short pauses. One more thing that increases fear is comparing yourself with others. When you see someone speaking English fluently, you feel low confidence. You think, I can never speak like them. But you are only seeing their current level, not their journey. Every fluent speaker once struggled like you. They also made mistakes. They also felt nervous. The only difference is they did not stop practicing. So how do we overcome this fear? The first step is acceptance. Accept that fear will be there in the beginning. Do not wait for fear to disappear completely. Instead, speak with fear. Yes, speak even when you are nervous, because courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is action despite fear. The second step is exposure. The more you speak, the less fear you feel. Start with very small sentences. Speak to yourself. Speak in front of a mirror. Speak while doing daily tasks. Slowly increase your speaking time every day. Your brain will start realizing that speaking English is safe. The third step is changing your mindset about mistakes. Every mistake you make is not a problem. It is progress. It shows that you are trying. If you avoid mistakes, you avoid improvement. So instead of fearing mistakes, welcome them. The final message of this chapter is simple. Fear is not your enemy. Silence is your real enemy. The moment you start speaking, even imperfectly, your fear starts shrinking, and your confidence starts growing. You do not need to remove fear completely. You just need to speak through it. In the next chapter, we will learn how to turn this courage into real speaking habits that slowly build fluency in your daily life. Chapter 3. Now that we understand fear is the biggest barrier in speaking English, the next important question is this. If fear is inside my mind, then how can I actually start speaking in real life? How do I move from silent understanding to active speaking? This is where many learners get stuck. They know the problem, they feel the problem, but they do not know the solution. In this chapter, I will show you very simple and practical methods that can slowly connect your understanding with speaking ability. The first and most powerful idea is this. You must start thinking in English, not translating into English. Most learners make a big mistake here. They think a sentence in their native language first, and then try to translate it into English. This creates delay, confusion, and fear. For example, if you want to say, I am going to school, you first think in your language, then search for words, then try to build a sentence. This slow process breaks your confidence. But when you start thinking directly in English, everything becomes faster. You see something and you say it in English in your mind immediately. For example, if you see water, you think water. If you're eating, you think I am eating. If you are tired, you think I am tired. These are small sentences, but they are very powerful. They train your brain to respond in English without translation. This is the first step toward fluency. Now let's talk about a very simple but life-changing method. It is called speaking to yourself. Many learners ignore this because it feels strange, but it is one of the best ways to improve speaking. You do not need a partner. You do not need a teacher. You just need yourself and a little time. Start describing your day in English. For example, when you wake up, say in English, I am waking up. When you brush your teeth, say, I am brushing my teeth. When you go outside, say, I am going outside. At first, it will feel awkward. You may stop after a few sentences, but slowly your brain will adjust. It will start accepting English as a natural way of expression. Another powerful method is shadow speaking. This means you listen to simple English sentences and repeat them immediately. For example, you watch a short English video or listen to a dialogue, and you copy the exact sentence, tone, and rhythm. This helps your mouth muscles and your brain work together. Speaking is not only mental, it is also physical. Your mouth needs practice just like your mind. Now let's add another important habit. Do not aim for long sentences in the beginning. Start with very short sentences. Many learners think fluency means speaking long and complex sentences. That is not true. Fluency means speaking clearly and naturally, even if sentences are short. For example, instead of trying to say a long sentence like, I would like to go to the market because I need to buy some things, you can simply start with, I want to go market. It is simple, it is understandable, and it keeps your conversation alive. This is more important than perfection. Communication should always come first. Another key idea is consistency. Speaking English for 10 minutes every day is more powerful than speaking for 2 hours once a week. Your brain learns through repetition. When you practice daily, your brain starts building automatic responses. Slowly, you do not need to think too much. Words start coming naturally. Now I want to introduce something very important. You must stop waiting for the perfect moment. Many learners think, I will start speaking when my English improves. But this is a mistake. English does not improve first. Speaking improves first. Improvement comes after action. If you wait for perfection, you will never start. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you are learning driving. If you only read books about driving but never sit in a car, will you ever learn? No. You must sit in the car, start the engine, and drive slowly. You may make mistakes in the beginning, but that is how learning happens. Speaking English is exactly the same. Another important habit is recording your voice. Speak for 1 or 2 minutes about your day, your thoughts, or anything simple. Then listen to your own voice. At first, you may feel uncomfortable, but this is very powerful. You will notice your mistakes, your pauses, and your improvement over time. This self-awareness helps you grow faster. Also, try to create a small English environment around you. Change your phone language to English. Watch simple English videos. Listen to short English conversations. Do not try to understand everything. Just let your brain get used to the sound of English. This exposure builds comfort and reduces fear. Now here is the most important truth of this chapter. Speaking English is not about learning more. It is about using what you already know. You already know enough English to start speaking. You do not need more vocabulary to begin. You need courage and practice. Every small sentence you speak is progress. Every mistake you make is training. Every attempt you take is building your confidence. Fluency is not a destination you reach in one day. It is a habit you build step by step. So from today, stop thinking, I will speak when I am ready. Start thinking, I will speak to become ready. This small mindset change will transform your journey. In the next chapter, we will go deeper into real-life speaking practice and how to use English confidently with other people without fear. Chapter 4. Now we are moving into a very important stage of your English-speaking journey. In the previous chapters, we understood the problem, we understood fear, and we learned how to start thinking and speaking in English with ourselves. But now comes the real challenge. How do you speak English with real people in real situations without freezing, without fear, and without losing confidence? This is the stage where many learners either grow or give up. So listen carefully, because this chapter can completely change the way you practice English in real life. The first truth you need to accept is this. Real speaking is not like practice speaking. When you speak alone, everything feels safe. There is no pressure, no judgment, no fear of mistakes. But when you speak with another person, your mind suddenly becomes active. You start thinking, what will they think? Am I speaking correctly? What if I make a mistake? This is natural, but you must not let these thoughts control you. The solution is not to avoid real speaking. The solution is to start small. You do not need to jump into long conversations. You do not need to speak perfect English. You just need to start with simple interactions. For example, saying, hello, how are you? Good morning, or thank you. These small sentences are powerful. They are your first step into real communication. Now let me tell you something very important. Confidence in speaking English does not come before speaking. It comes after speaking. Many learners wait to feel confident before they speak. But this never happens. Confidence is not a starting point. It is a result. Every time you speak, even for a few seconds, you build a small piece of confidence inside your mind. Let's talk about one of the best ways to practice real speaking. It is called low-pressure conversation. This means you start speaking with people who are patient, friendly, and supportive. It can be a friend, a classmate, a language partner, or even someone online. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to be understood. For example, instead of worrying about grammar, you can say simple sentences like, I go school today, or I eat food now. Even if the sentence is not perfect, the message is clear. And that is what matters most in communication. Real people care about understanding, not perfection. Now let's talk about a powerful mindset shift. Stop thinking in terms of mistakes. Start thinking in terms of messages. When you speak English, your goal is not to impress people. Your goal is to express yourself. If the other person understands you, then your speaking is successful, even if your grammar is not perfect. Another important step is asking questions. Many learners only focus on speaking sentences, but they forget that asking questions is also speaking. Simple questions like, "Where are you from?" "What do you do?" or "How was your day?" can start real conversations. Questions also reduce pressure because they give the other person a chance to speak more. Now let's talk about a very powerful truth. People are usually more supportive than you think. Most learners believe that others will laugh at their mistakes. But in reality, most people appreciate effort. If someone sees you trying to speak English, they often respect you for it. Very few people focus on your mistakes. Most people are busy thinking about their own lives. Another technique that can help you a lot is repeating real conversations. After talking to someone, think about what you said and how you could say it better. Do not criticize yourself. Just observe. For example, if you said something in a broken way, later you can think, "Next time I will say it like this." This simple reflection helps you improve naturally. Now let's talk about a very common fear: silence during conversation. Many learners panic when they cannot find words quickly. They think silence is failure. But silence is completely normal. Even fluent speakers pause while thinking. The difference is they do not stop speaking because of silence. They continue after it. You should learn to stay calm during these moments. One more powerful habit is preparing simple topics. Before speaking with someone, think of easy topics like your day, your hobbies, your food, or your plans. This gives your brain a small backup. When you have topics ready, your mind feels less pressure and more control. Now here is something very important. Do not run away from speaking opportunities. Many learners avoid conversations because they feel scared. But avoidance makes fear stronger. Every time you avoid speaking, your brain learns that speaking is dangerous. But every time you try, your brain learns that speaking is safe. So the more you speak, the more your fear reduces automatically. Let me tell you a simple rule. One sentence is better than 0 sentences. Even if you speak just one simple sentence in a day, it is progress. Do not underestimate small actions. Small actions create big results over time. Also remember this: you do not need perfect English to make friends, to communicate, or to express yourself. You only need understandable English. And understandable English comes with practice, not perfection. So from today, your focus should be simple. Speak a little every day with real people. Do not wait for confidence. Do not wait for perfect grammar. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Just start small and stay consistent. In the next and final chapter, we will bring everything together and understand how daily practice and mindset change can turn you from a silent learner into a confident English speaker in real life. Chapter 5. Now we have reached the most important part of this journey. In the previous chapters, we understood the real problem behind "I can understand English, but I can't speak." We learned about fear. We learned about thinking in English. And we also learned how to practice with real people. Now in this final chapter, We will bring everything together and understand how real transformation happens. This is the stage where learners stop being silent and slowly become confident speakers in real life. Let me start with a simple truth. Becoming fluent in English is not a miracle. It is not something that happens in one day. It is a slow process of daily improvement. Many learners expect fast results. They think if they study for 1 week or 1 month, they will suddenly become fluent. But speaking English is not like that. It is more like building a habit. Every small action you take daily shapes your confidence and fluency. Now think about your journey so far. At the beginning, speaking even one sentence felt difficult. You were afraid of mistakes. You were worried about grammar. You were thinking too much before speaking. But slowly, when you started practicing thinking in English, speaking to yourself, and using simple sentences, something started changing inside your mind. This change is very important. It is the beginning of fluency. Fluency is not when you speak perfect English. Fluency is when you can express your thoughts without stopping completely. Even if your sentences are simple, even if your grammar is not perfect, if you can communicate, you are already improving. Many learners do not realize this. They wait for perfect English, but perfection is not the goal. Communication is the goal. Now let's talk about what happens when you practice consistently. At first, your speaking is slow. You search for words. You pause often. But after some time, your brain starts recognizing patterns. It starts remembering common sentences. It starts reacting faster. This is called natural fluency development. You do not force it. It happens automatically through repetition. One day you will notice something surprising. You will speak a sentence without translating in your mind. You will respond faster than before. You will feel less fear. This is the moment when real progress starts showing. But this moment only comes if you do not stop practicing. Now I want you to imagine a situation. You are sitting with someone and having a simple conversation in English. You are not perfect. You still make small mistakes. But you are speaking. You are responding. You are expressing your ideas. You are not silent anymore. This is success. This is real achievement. Not perfect grammar, but active communication. Another important change happens in your mindset. Earlier, you used to think, what if I make mistakes? But now you start thinking, let me try to express myself. This shift is very powerful because when your focus moves from fear to expression, your speaking becomes natural. Now let's talk about habits that make fluency permanent. The first habit is daily speaking practice. Even 10 to 15 minutes every day is enough. You can talk to yourself, describe your day, or repeat sentences. The key is consistency, not time, but regularity. The second habit is listening and repeating. When you listen to simple English content and repeat it, your pronunciation, rhythm, and confidence improve together. This helps your brain and mouth work as a team. The third habit is real interaction. Try to speak with at least one person regularly. It can be a friend, teacher, or online partner. Real conversation builds real confidence. Without real speaking, improvement stays limited. Now let's talk about something very important. Many learners stop practicing when they feel slightly better. This is a big mistake. Improvement is not the end point. It is the beginning of another level. If you stop too early, your progress will slow down again. You must continue even after improvement. Fluency is like walking on a road. If you keep walking, you reach your destination. If you stop in the middle, you stay where you are. The same rule applies to English speaking. Consistency is everything. Now I want to remind you of something powerful. You already have everything you need to speak English. You already understand English. You already know basic words. You already know basic grammar. The only thing missing is practice and confidence. And both of these come with action, not waiting. Every fluent speaker you admire today was once a beginner like you. They also struggled. They also made mistakes. They also felt nervous. But they did one thing differently. They did not stop speaking. That is the real secret. Now let's come to the final message of this journey. You do not need perfect English to start speaking. You need courage. You need practice. You need patience. And most importantly, you need action. If you wait for the perfect moment, you will never start. But if you start now, even imperfectly, you will improve every single day. So from today, speak a little more than yesterday. Make one new sentence. Try one new conversation. Accept your mistakes. Learn from them. And keep moving forward. And remember this always. You are not someone who cannot speak English. You are someone who is learning to speak English. This small difference in mindset will change your entire journey. Keep practicing, keep speaking, keep improving, and one day you will realize that English is no longer a fear for you. It is your strength.